participation in their content.
You know, they've been so snaky about this too, because I remember back in like the 2.0 range, we get like the first time I can remember it happening was with 3.5, where we got the second part of the story, right? And then as stuff's coming out, it's like, oh, we had to delay something, so you can get this in a half patch, or you'll get bug fixes in an off patch. And this is the first time where they've been like, here's all the stuff we're giving you, but here, and here. Like, they've worked their way up to this so gradually that this just seems like business as usual.
I think it's disappointing.
It is absolutely disappointing.
Yeah.
I guess I feel I don't know if tricked is the right word. I mean, looking at it now, it makes sense to me, but I definitely feel like the way that they went about this was to purposely try and make us feel like, no, this is normal now. Just giving you your portions little by little by little, spacing them out for you. So moving on, let's talk about the MSQ here. The full chain of quests that it has sits at 7, which, not to jump too far ahead, but that is the exact same amount of quests that the Namazu Beast Tribe has.
The Beast Tribe's going to have way more than that. Because from my experience of how the Beast Tribe quests work, each tier has between 3 and 6, and there's going to be 5 different levels at least. I
don't know, when I was reading through these patch notes and I saw that the MSQ has as much quest structuring in it as the little fish people that want to make a Weeaboo festival.
I think it's the that's the level up quests, not the actual quests that you do.
No, but I mean, in terms of development for how much content you're going to be doing, you know what I mean? Like, it does seem disproportionate, and it also seems dinky. 7 quests for MSQ. Like, in 3.0, we were getting like quest chains that had 11 quests on them.
In addition to maybe a trial and a dungeon as well.
Yeah. What is going on with this game? What is going on with the development of this game? Are they diverting resources to a different game? Is this in order for Kingdom Hearts 3 to come out? What is going on? Honestly, the slide in content has been more drastic than any other MMO than I've seen in 10 years.
And I can't 100% tell here too, but I'm not actually sure if... Do you guys think that the Swallow's Compass is going to be involved in the MSQ, or do you think it's going to be part of the Four Lords Chronicles of a New Era quest
Definitely
line?
Four Lords.
Yeah. Four Lords, for sure.
Okay, so what this tells me is that basically this MSQ is just going to be more character bullshit of characters I don't care about.
But also, the way that it worked before is the main story quest came to that point, and it was part of the main story, sort of, also, or like branched off at a certain point, so that once you couldn't do the dungeon until you got to a certain point in the story, and then you would get...
I mean, I guess, yes, that they'll kind of, on the side, it'll sort of be like attached to it, but, you know, looking at these 2 screenshots that they have here with Hien and Yetsuyu, and should I know who that dude behind Elfenau is?
Which picture are you looking at?
It's right at the very top. Playable content, quests, new main scenario quests have been added.
Scroll down. He's a Garland.
Well,
yeah, I don't know. I don't recognize him either.
Okay, they're just... I don't know, something about these screenshots. Like all I'm picturing now is going through that same shit that I did. The last MSQ, full disclosure, the last MSQ cutscene that I watched was when you're walking around with Nanamo, and she's being all emo about how she's not sure if she can rule without having Raoban by her side and like questioning herself and shit. That was so fucking boring to me that I skipped all the other cutscenes. And just what I'm seeing so far right here in what little bit we could make out of from the Under the Moonlight trailer, I'm not excited about the MSQ whatsoever. Like, it feels like a chore.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think 7 quests is, for me personally, like, I'm kind of all right with that, because I don't give a shit about what's going on in the MSQ.
Okay,
so it's like,
looking at the bright side,
yeah,
I like it.
I can just blow through it, but I think that's fairly inexcusable for an MMO in 2018 that's putting out a major patch.
Well, but I mean, what are they supposed to do? I mean, come on, we liberated 2 nations from Garlemald at the start of the expansion.
I don't know.
I mean,
do
how
something.
Are they supposed to top that?
Move us towards the next conflict. I don't know what the fuck. The fact that I don't know where this is going to me tells me that the writers don't know where this is going either. So they're just faffing about in these patch MSQ. Just fucking get us through this shit. Get us to the next.
You know
thing.
what? More so the fact that, and we talked about this on the last show, I think the fact that we don't really care where it's going means that they're not even properly building anything for us. God, you might be right. Fuck, they're just faffing around until what, the next expansion?
Yeah, pretty much. What are they even going to do for the next expansion that's going to be interesting? Like, what have they done in this series?
We're going to go obliterate Garlemald
in the first patch.
But what have they done in this series of narratives to set us up to be ready for that, or to really even want that?
Maybe that's why Xenos is coming back.
Oh my God.
He's going to help lead us into Garlemald. We've been thinking about it all wrong, guys. He's an ally now.
No, not that. I'm just saying he's here to do something so bad and prove to us that Garlemald is up to something bigger than we assumed in the first place. And we're going to then be like, no, fuck all the Garleans. Let's go beat them.
No, you're giving them too much credit. They're not setting it up at all. No. The next expansion will just start, and they'll be like, well, let's go get Garlemald now.
No, honestly, you know what I think? No, stop.
Like last patch, 4.55557 or whatever, will lead us into it.
No, I don't think so. I think that this is all going to just peter out. All of our storylines are going to peter out and resolve themselves so that when the next expansion comes out, they can have a completely fresh storyline to set from, and that will encourage people to buy more jump potions.
Now,
okay, first of all, there's a part of me that's like, if they wanted to just be like, fuck all this story, let's just start fresh, might not be the worst idea for them.
I mean,
no, that would be really bad.
I think it would be really bad. I mean, like,
how do they fuck that up though? Right? Like, we're sitting here complaining about how we're not grabbed by this story, right? That we have no investment in the characters or their plights or anything like that. If they do just start fresh with a whole new story, it's a fresh slate at least.
Yeah, but I mean, they're really gonna get raked over the coals for these last series of MSQs then, because it's how do you you need to be able to set up for the next thing. Obviously, Square Enix is really bad at that. Square Enix is really bad at transitioning from one thing to another, from one setting to another, because look at how poorly they did it between 3.0 and 4.0.
Throughout the entire expansion,
hey, Dragon Song War, Warriors of Light, what the fuck? And then Alamigo. Done.
You'd think they would have had a more solid plan, knowing going into Stormblood that we're going to be separated between 2 fucking continents.
I don't think they fucking have a plan.
No,
I think they're making this shit up as they go along.
Ugh.
That's the part that fucking bothers me. Like, if they said that, if they just came out and said that, like, yeah, listen, we're way past the point where we had a plan for the story, and now we're just tap dancing to figure out what we want to get to, I would respect that. I actually might even be a little bit impressed with that. Because in with that context, it's actually not that bad. It's like, it's passable, right?
Yeah, no, I think what it does is it further for me strengthens the theory that the way that the development works, whether you're creating actual cutscenes or whether you're the ones writing the story, I think that everything is so disjointed and compartmentalized that, let's say that you're the one who's actually writing, like, they're like, all right, we need you to write the storyline for the Four Lords quest line for 4.3, right? I don't think that person gets to see the full big picture. Again, this is something that we've mentioned in regards to Nika's monk guy being left out of things, right? That they don't have access to all the information. So they're really just putting down sort of a bare bones minimum. All right, this should fit in there, nicely. And it really comes through as being disjointed, and it makes it seem like they have no direction.
They don't. I don't think that they do. They're rudderless. It's like a boat without a rudder. They have no way to be able to steer where the fuck they're going, and it's clear now to the audience that they have no idea.
Yeah.
If it wasn't clear, if it wasn't made abundantly clear by the train wreck of a storyline that ended the 3.0 series of patches, then it has been laid bare for all to see in these Stormblood patches.
Yeah, like Gisela said, Garlean's pale in comparison to knowing about other worlds and the Ascians. And I feel like that is such a good point. The fact that they revealed the existence of the other worlds and like dimensions at the end of 3.0, 3.x, and then now we're just like, yeah, okay, but we're gonna go deal with our petty little squabbles on our one little Earth without knowing about the greater conflict of all of the worlds. I just feel like it's a really big oversight on our part.
That is such a great point. Like, we're not even dealing with actual issues. We're just following around the other characters as they deal with their own personal issues.
Yeah.
It's like we have our own, and like, the Garleans are horrible and all of this stuff needs to be liberated, blah, blah, blah. But when we know that these worlds are completely dying and we are the source world, there should be something that we now, as a warrior of light who was kind of ascended past, I don't want to say we're more than immortal, but we kind of are, to the point where we know what God knows, that we should now be able to help in some way, assist with that conflict. But instead we're like, no, let's just go liberate one.
It's gone. Yeah.
And I just feel like that's not, I feel like they should have waited to drop the multiple world things like 4 more expansions down the line. And that way, like, and then they could turn the conflict into something bigger.
Yeah.
But now that we know about the bigger conflict and then we're reverting back to the smaller conflicts, it just feels really disjointed.
No, it does. It's quite frankly, it's one of the most disjointed narratives in a long-term sense that I've ever experienced in an MMO. Like, dude, I've been playing Elder Scrolls Online, and I am shocked, just going through and questing, I am shocked by how well the story that they're laying out is hanging together. Like, shocked. I've never thought that, Bethesda told a particularly tight storyline, right? That's fair. It always felt like it was on you to be able to figure out, what it is you're going next, and it's sort of like you're kind of the engine that's driving the story.
It was
right?
always very easy to sort of lose sight, like whether it was in Fallout or Skyrim. Days later, I remember, oh right, got to kill that dragon.
Exactly. So playing Elder Scrolls Online, I expected a lot of the same thing, and I think in early levels I got a lot of that, but as I'm continuing on, and I'm starting to like pick up on more and more of where the what the game wants out of me, because it doesn't make that explicit. I'm really surprised by how tight the storyline is that they're telling, and I think it's quite enjoyable. You compare that to some of the side quests and the flavor quests that you get out of FF14, because I've been doing them in tandem, right? I never did any of the Stormblood quests. I just did the MSQ to be able to barrel to level cap, right? So I'm going back and taking my machinist through a lot of the FF14 questing, and it pales in comparison, because I feel like the side quests don't get the amount of attention, like even a quarter of the attention that some of the MSQ does. The MSQ doesn't even hold together very well. There's only little bits and pieces of FF14 quests that I even remember that even stand out to me, and I've been fucking reading. I've been trying. I've been wanting to do a comparative analysis of the quest system between the two games for weeks now, and I just, like, FF14, it was a game that held so much narrative promise at A Realm Reborn and delivered that throughout all of 2.0. And then 3.0, it started to falter a little bit. And
after the actual expansion drop. So I would say like with 3.1.
3.2 is where
that's fair. Yeah.
is where I noticed it really. And by the time we got to Warriors of Darkness, there were some glaring narrative issues. And Nika just hit the nail on the head with that. Is that we were given way too much information. That was an info dump that we didn't need, that has not paid off.
Early for that much information.
Yes, and it hasn't paid off in any narrative sense, so it was purposeless.
If they wanted us to go there, I feel like we would have had to liberate everything, take down Garlemald, make everyone kind of feel like we're at peace, and then boom, all of a sudden there's a greater world conflict, and then each world can work together against whatever the Ascians are doing.
That would have been
like
so
we would have needed that whole build-up before the info dump of the other worlds. It feels like it was backwards, and I don't know why they made this decision. It was a bad one.
Yeah.
Have we even seen the Ascian? Like, have they actually done anything this expansion?
It's a good question. I think outside of what was it? The king reacting to someone,
to him taking his mask off.
Right.
Or
We don't, but we don't know for sure what that is.
That was the end of the 4.0 proper credit scene.
Right.
After credit scene.
Yeah.
So they really haven't done anything. And again, though the Ascians are presented to us, especially during the 2.x storyline, as kind of like the big bads. Like, they captured Minfilia, they took over Thancred, like they did all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And now we're just letting them do whatever they want while we go and deal with our petty squabbles again. Like, I don't feel like we are fully understanding the shit that's going down, and I feel like that's a really bad oversight in all of the Scion's part, because they should be more aware of this.
Yeah, absolutely. But no. Hey, the neighborhood across the sea really needs some help, guys.
Yeah, Tsuyu's really sad about stuff. We have to fix her.
We're being the universe is being consumed by light. But yet, oh no, we got some
amnesia to deal with over here.
Yeah, we got some real estate issues that we got to solve. Like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah. You know, Nika, you and Juxta, and I really wish that he would have been here for this. We mentioned it briefly a little earlier, but you guys sort of, I think, noticed something with the patch notes. The Four Lords storyline, which we've seen Genbu, we fought Byaku now, and now we're being pointed towards not sure who, but Tenzin. We think is coming in. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you and Juxta were sort of discussing exactly?
We were trying to decide based on the patch notes if the new Four Lords is going to be simply a dungeon boss or an actual
right, because we know that we're getting a trial, but on the patch notes it's triple question mark, so we don't know who it is.
Right, and the thing is, we know we're getting a dog, but the thing is that Juxta made a good point. I can't believe I'm saying that. In comparing this to 3.3, where we got the Nidhogg fight, it ended the storyline, and then we got the hard mode of Nidhogg where the mount dropped. And he's saying, Xenos is back. If this mirrors that at all, which it's Square Enix, it's going to, this is going to be the end of the Doma shit. We're going to get a showdown. Like, there's no way we're not going to have a showdown with Xenos, and then you don't think that we're then going to get another trial with Xenos. Versus when we look at the Four Lords, like, little notes here, it's hard to tell if it's just going to be a boss or if it's going to be a trial. Or
well, yeah, I don't think I definitely don't see any evidence of it being a trial.
Because,
it's literally just like a quest.
Yeah,
but the thing is that it's always a quest.
It looks like a flashback. That's all it looks like.
Well,
I mean,
it does say, by the way, tortoise in time. So there's probably at least going to be some form of echo time travel, maybe.
Yeah,
because you see the flashback of Tenzin. So we already know Tenzin stuff was all in the past. So that's definitely something's going to happen there. But like, as what happened in the past, we fought Genbu as the boss, and then we fought Byaku as the trial, and then the one that dropped the mount was the bard rehash of it. So it could be that like this time we get like Siryu, and then we get Suzaku as a trial, where we get Siryu as a dungeon boss, or we just get one lord, because we also know there's going to be whatever that big bad one is that the Four Lords are protecting, like the bigger, badder guy that we don't even know, right? So it could be that we get two of them now, then we get the big one later, or we get one is a dungeon. It's hard to say.
I don't know why they don't just give us the title of it. Like it's going to be some big spoiler. Like, okay, we know that if Xenos is coming back, we should probably have to fight him, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that you're giving us Genbu and Byaku, we know Sirio or Suzaku is coming next.
Right.
One of those, it's not a spoiler.
It is strange because we did know originally, at least with Thornton, I don't think we knew that Shinryu was going to end up being the boss when we fought Thornton originally. But I know, or not Thornton, when we fought Xenos originally. But I know originally with Thornton, I feel like we knew there was going to be a Thornton fight, and we also knew that we were going to have a Byaku fight. We were talking about how stupid he looked before the patch even dropped.
Yeah, so no, we got those in notes.
That.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm not entirely sure why we don't get to know if we're fighting Xenos or Suzaku or Seiryu. It seems a little bit strange that it would be a spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure why they're hiding it exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be, I don't know. I think it's going to just be
lead to more disappointment more than anything else.
I mean, if you ask me, like, aren't they kind of running out of time to pay off the Four Lords?
Well, that's why I was thinking they could do a dungeon boss and a trial this time like they did last time, and then give us the big bad guy in a couple patches. But I don't know.
It sounds like we may get them in tandem next time to lead up to the big bad. And I'm kind of curious who they're going to make the big bad.
Yeah, because they said that there's some guy, like all four of the lords were like keeping the seals locked on like the bigger, badder guy, right?
Ooh.
Like, but I don't know. I mean, and also we don't know exactly how Tenzin's story ended either, and so we're kind of getting little pieces of that.
What's his connection exactly?
I'm trying to remember.
Do we even know?
You get that one cutscene after you beat the dungeon where Genbu explains it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he's a human who had somehow came across them. He was an outcast from his own town.
Right.
And ended up, like he was cast out, like he was banished. And like he ended up not like taming them, but like being friends with them. I remember he was like actually good friends with Byaku, and like Byaku went crazy. I don't know. Like there was a whole tie-in. But I don't think we know exactly where Tenzin's story leads. Yeah, he teamed up with the Four Lords to lock this beast away.
Then I feel like this tortoise in time could very much be Genbu basically maybe filling us in on the rest of it.
Yeah, because you see the picture there, and you see the black and white, like,
and that's it.
Thing of Tenzin. You think we're just gonna get a quest and not any of the lords?
Look what they did to Hildebrand.
You don't think the boss though of Swallow's Compass is gonna be one of them?
No. No, I don't think so.
Because we just said at the beginning we thought the dungeon was going to be related to Four Lords. If it is, at least the dungeon boss will be one of them.
See, I was...
They put another one at the end of a dungeon. That's
what I'm saying. They probably will. It'll be Genbu in a dungeon, Byaku as a trial, although we got them at the same time. They're going to put another one as a dungeon and then another one as a trial.
I honestly wouldn't be that surprised if this was rolled into the dungeon much like it was with Genbu. Right, where we have to flag the quest. The quest is what gives us access to the dungeon, and then the cutscene comes at the end of the dungeon. It's Square Enix's lazy little way of tricking us as players to make us think that we got more content than we did.
Again, I will be very upset about this unless one of them is a dungeon boss, which leads into a trial, much like Genbu to Byaku did. If we get like Suzaku as a boss and then Seiryu as a trial, or vice versa, I'll be okay with that. But I don't see anything here that says that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, me neither.
No, well, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
The one thing that I actually am looking forward to in this whole patch is, of course, our return to Ivalice, the Vitorana Lighthouse. Now, if you look underneath here, there's actually 5 quests that apparently have to do with this, and even going into Rabanasti, there was actually quite a lengthy quest series that you had to go through. Now, maybe I'm looking at this wrong. You guys are going to have to let me know if I'm reading the way patch notes are set up. But basically, these 5 quest things, it seems like they follow the Vitorana, right? You must first complete a city fallen, and then that gives you access to the next one, which you have to complete uninvited, right? So they sort of precede each other. The last one has a level requirement of 1. Is that weird, or am I looking into that too much?
Oh, what? Okay, it's also possible, keep in mind, pre-patch notes have a lot of typos. So it is possible that was a mistake.
Okay, yeah, because all the other ones are like Disciple of War Magic, level 70, then this one's like level 1. I mean, not that it matters, because you have to be level 70 to complete the other ones as well, but that was just weird thing.
Maybe it dumps maybe it dumps a shitload of XP as a reward, and you want to get that on a job that's not pinned at 70.
No, I think it's a mistake because like there's been times these patch notes are pretty good, but a lot of times I've noticed like letters jumbled and words misspelled and things in the prelim patch notes that are fixed by the time the real patch notes drop.
Yeah, why give you free XP when you can just go to the cash shop and pay for it?
I think this is just a typo.
This next one here, new side story quests have been added. This triple question mark. I think that is our trial. It does say though that players must first complete a main scenario quest.
But you also had to do that for Byakko as well,
right?
Like you had to do the main scenario and you had to do the dungeon. But then again, that was kind of what was leading Juxta to think that was like a Xenos thing.
It makes sense if they.
This is side story quest. This is not the main story quest. New side story quests have been added, and then they said you must first complete a main scenario quest, and it will become available after progressing through the 4.3 main scenario. That to me looks like a quest for
the Four Lords,
but it doesn't mean that it's a trial. It's just a quest. So.
Yeah. I think I'm going to put my money on something Four Lords related, even with Xenos coming back. I don't know that they would make us fight him the patch he comes back.
Yeah, especially because, like, thinking about it, Shinryu was Xenos. Like, Xenos became Shinryu, and then we got the refight with Shinryu for the X mode. So I think that might already kind of count because we didn't have an earlier, like, Nidhogg fight at all. It just happened. Well, I mean, I guess that's not true. We had it in the Airy dungeon. But in terms of a trial and like a rehash, we already got that.
Yeah, but the ultimate Shinryu or the extreme Shinryu fight, wasn't that through the Bard?
Yeah, all the savage modes are extreme modes.
Yeah, so those aren't like considered canon. Like we didn't get a rematch with him. We went to the Bard and he's like, tell me the story. And,
well, yeah, but that's the thing. Though is that like we get the main one through the story and then the Bard has the savage mode or whatever
right, so our rematch wasn't an actual rematch.
Well, yeah, but neither.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at our match with Nidhogg in the area as an actual fight against Nidhogg, then sure. But I feel like what Juxta and I were discussing was that in 3.3 we got the regular Nidhogg fight and then the Bard version, and he's thinking that because this is 4.3 we're going to get a regular Xenos fight and then a Bard version. Same thing with Thornton. But I don't know.
I still think I'm going to put my money on the Four Lords fight. I think that...
but do you think it's going to be a dungeon? Do you think it's going to actually be a trial?
It's going to be we might get both.
See, it doesn't seem like there's enough boxes here, even with the question marks. If you look at the requirements for them, it doesn't seem like there's enough boxes for
no, because it would easily...
And then a storyline fight and a savage fight and something with Zen. Like, I don't think...
Put Siryu or Suzaku at the end of Swallow's Compass, right? And then similar to how Genbu sent us to fight Byakko, they then send us to fight whoever the second one was. And then there, your Four Lords have been revealed.
But didn't they say whatever the primal fight that we have this time is not connected to the Four Lords? Didn't they confirm that in the last live letter?
Did they?
In one of the live letters, I sort of feel like they did. Because I feel like yeah, that it was confirmed early on that whatever primal like fight, basically circle room, big baddie, whatever that is not going to be connected to the Four Lords. Yeah, Oot is saying that they did. Yeah, they said that. I'm not fucking crazy.
All right. I never said you were crazy. Calm down, buddy. Calm down. Breathe. I do feel like if they're trying to keep whatever this trial is such a secret for it to be a spoiler, I do feel like it wouldn't be Four Lords related, right? Because again, with the Four Lords, everybody knows who they're going to be,
right?
But if it's Xenos, I feel like we know that he's came back. If we
don't know why or how or what.
Okay, but if we end up fighting him, that's not going to surprise anyone. No. So
why bother hiding it like that?
Yeah. So this trial could be some type of huge swerve.
Yeah, I don't know.
But do you think it will be? I think they just didn't want to put anything because the name of the quest is going to be something that happens in the storyline, and they just.
What if it's Yida?
God damn it! That is not going to happen. I would love that.
That is the only like narrative the narrative thread that they never paid off, right?
Oh yeah.
What was? Hang on, no. Let me just ask this from a narrative perspective. What is the point of having Lise disguise herself as Yida if you're never going to pay off where Yida actually is?
That's true, because there really wasn't. I mean, she was kind of in hiding and she was trying to pretend she was someone, but really
there was no reason for her.
The reason for it, would have been it hasn't come to fruition, and I feel like there has to be a reason.
Yeah, at least more compelling than. What did they give? What did they give us? Because she was trying.
If she had instead stayed Yida, but had taken off her helmet and revealed like her backstory, like, hey, my name is Yida, my sister Lise died in this escape, it would not have changed.
It wouldn't have changed it. It wouldn't have changed an iota.
She could have just stayed as Yida and had the same backstory, except she was the older sister. Nothing would have changed. So there really, unless we see Yida at some point, there is no payoff. There was no point.
That has to be where they're driving.
If we
towards.
end up seeing Yida in this patch, I will bow down to them at this point, because I can't see it happening, but I want it to so fucking.
That's the thing, right? Exactly. Like, you know, that, and that's, I think, my chief complaint about the FF14 narrative is that it just doesn't pay off enough of what it sets up. And it sets things up almost without even knowing that it set it up, right? The problem with Yida and Lise, right? That seems more as a like it comes off as ham-fisted writing more so than a clever setup. And I think even if they do end up bringing Yida back in some form or fashion and paying off that plot point, that at this point they've waited to do it so long that it's going to end up feeling ham-fisted.
No, yeah, no, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, because I have a feeling that if they do bring Yida back, it's going to be next patch. Because we know we're finishing off Doma's story and Yotsuyu's bullshit right now. We're going to get through all of that before we go back to Alamigo. And if Yida comes in, speaking about, you know, Lisa, their father, and how active he was in Alamigo's rebellion and all of that, it's not going to be till we're done with Doma.
That's fair. This is the Doma section.
Right. The other possibility that we have, because we got, you know, we talked about it last week in the trailer, is there could be some kind of instanced battle that takes place, quote unquote, inside Yotsuyu's mind. I've seen that
look like that.
I've seen that theory tossed out there more than a few times.
Why would that be a spoiler though? Like, why hide that as a trial?
I think that
can easily be a duty.
No. That makes sense to hide that, because we don't know for certain what those scenes were implying.
Yeah, but we don't know for certain if that means we're like destroying Yotsuyu's memories, we're helping her recover her memories. Why we're in there in the first place, why we'd even want to help Yotsuyu other than Gotsetsu's weird fucked up feelings for her. Like, there's I mean, I could see them hiding that just because they want the speculation. Like, they know that people looked at the purple flying orb.
I feel like
and we're speculating now, so it turns out Yotsuyu's Yida all along.
Damn it, it's back. Yeah. All right. Well, you know, as much as I'm not looking forward to the story itself, like just all
I just want to know.
Yeah. Some of this is just like, all right, what the hell is actually going on?
I want to know what's going on in the developer's mind more so than the story.
But yeah, let's go into their mind. Now, Nika, I know that you are, for some dumb reason, excited about the Namazu.
I do all the beast quests. I love them. I've done every single one, max rank in all of them. So,
well, one of the big, I think, disappointments that we had when we saw that, because earlier on we thought that with the Namazu and building something up, that the Doman Enclave would be a prime place for them to put that, and we're basically helping to rebuild the Doman capital. And you know, when they're like, nah, they want to do a fucking festival, that was all kind of shit on.
Only the Ananta Beast Tribe quests, I feel like, are actually building something in the world. Like the turtle guys, whatever the fuck they're called.
Oh my god, I hated that. They are just building up
their own treasure vault. Well, I understand.
Was so fucking.
It's like, well, I understand that's kind of important to their culture. I don't feel like that's something the Warrior of Light should be helping them with. So it seemed a little ham-fisted as well. And then the Anantas at least were building up a stronghold, and you were helping the young Ananta kind of grow into her own. I felt that was kind of cool.
If your vault is sacred in that way,
you can't just build it up.
Isn't having an outsider helping you build it tantamount to sacrilege?
Well, not really, because each of the things in their new vault are things from the rest of the area, and they're kind of trying to make their vault special to the current culture of the world now that they are kind of integrated and they're not keeping themselves secluded anymore. So like they're like, it's not really important now, but in thousands of years, all of these things will be super important. So I don't think that's necessarily sacrilege because they're building a new type of treasure.
That's still the dumbest thing.
It is dumb.
I mean, it kind of depends on the culture, doesn't it?
It does.
I mean,
it does depend on the culture, but they're trying to expand into inclusion.
I mean, I guess
instead of exclusion.
I guess.
I don't know, but they are doing a Dome and Enclave build up.
Yes, that was the thing that surprised me. They do actually have a quest called "It Takes an Enclave," and basically the Dome and Enclave reconstruction effort has begun, and so players can now donate unneeded items to help supply and finance the reconstruction of the Enclave. And the note says that in exchange for items donated, players will receive gratuity that amounts to slightly more than they normally would be received when selling said items to a vendor. But as players continue to make contributions, we're actually going to see the Enclave grow and change over time.
Yeah, it's kind of like that one. It was like one of the Little Ladies Day events or something, where like the more people turned things in, the more we could buy from the store. It was like, or the more we went out excavating or something like that. Then then eventually the reward is that like peach choker or whatever. But it was like some servers were like, oh, our server's gotten it already, and we're like, oh, we haven't gotten it yet. So it was like a server wide effort. And so I think it's kind of cool they're reusing that idea that each server's Enclave is probably going to be at a slightly different level, especially because the gratuity only lasts so long per day or whatever. And so some people can continue to turn in shit for free just to build it up if you want. Or some people on some servers might be like, well, I'm not going to guild, I'm not going to turn anything in. And so some servers are going to, build up way faster than others. And I'm kind of curious about where they're going with it and what we're going to get when it's all built up. But
I can tell you what we're going to get.
What?
Nothing.
It's just going to be built up. But I mean, it's nice that Square Enix and the FF14 development team are starting to kind of experiment with things like this, because I do think the next expansion has to have some kind of greater overworld event or purpose than just fates and hunts. Those are the only two things that keep people in the overworld. And I think that if there was, systems,
honestly, a campaign thing would not be the worst they could put in right now.
Honestly,
because with Garlemald, you can help take and give things. Like Garlemald would take back a location, you fight them back, you regain control, the Garlemald takes it back from you. How fucking easy would it be to put campaign in Garlemald?
But I mean, like, think about it. How mind blowing is it that a system like Conquest existed at the earliest stages of FF11's development, but that we've had nothing like that for FF14.
Yeah, in 1.0 they did have the Hamlet defense shit, and they also had
right. That's true.
What are they called? Other than Hamlet defense, there was
the Chocobo caravan.
No, but there was something else too. There was I remember going into like Copperbell when it wasn't a dungeon and doing one of these.
Oh yeah, open dungeons. There were like open world dungeons.
There was like, it was like a campaign type of deal, but you'd sign up on an NPC and it would start at a certain time, and you'd go and you would like kill things in the overworld.
Leave, were they were a type of leave, weren't they?
Not exactly, no. It was something, they had them all over the world. It was basically guild hests, right? No, that's not what it is.
Yeah, I thought that's what.
Was it guild hests?
Yeah, I thought it was guild hests.
Battle has type things, You would sign up in the NPCs like around the world, and the ones in the overworld areas were much more popular, and then the ones in like Copperbell and stuff were higher level, so not as many people did them.
Right.
But it was cool, and I felt like I was contributing, and I remember too that you could get XP even at low levels for doing them, so I did them a lot.
This game gives me nothing to shake my yeeping about. Sad.
Now, you guys realize one of the reasons that I was excited about this Dome and Enclave reconstruction effort thing is this is essentially talking about what was one of my favorite events in World of Warcraft, Burning Crusade, back in 2007, where it was kind of the same thing. There was like this war effort to where you did quests and turned things in, and every week when the server reset or whatnot, you would see how much progress was made on your server. And Nico, like you said with the Little Ladies event, different servers were ahead in different ways. But then I realized this is Square Enix and Yoshi that's making this. And honestly, all I think this is going to be is it's going to be what in previous expansions we had got with Mordona or with Idleshire.
That just took more time, yeah.
Yes, except now it's sort of on us to do. And it's basically going to be sort of the same way. Each time when we get to whatever the thresholds are. All right, it's built up a little bit more. Maybe there's a new NPC there or not, but I honestly
would be cool if they added shops and NPCs the farther along that we were. Because
still, even if they add shops, they're not going to be like new shops that only the Enclave has.
They better be.
No, why not? I'm sorry. Do not put your hopes on. Do not put your hopes on.
I'm looking back at that Little Ladies event, and in that event, there were items that were specific to the event itself.
Okay, fine. Yeah, maybe you'll get more weeb clothing.
But even still, if it's a shop that like you're served, like you can get, even if it's just glamour, like you cannot get it. You cannot get it on your server unless you've turned in a certain amount of things and built up your enclave.
But you really think it's going to be that hard to turn this shit in? In fact, Nika, when the next patch comes out, it'll be a catch-up patch. Oh, these servers didn't quite make it, so we're going to push them up there. There, now you got it. Good luck on this next round of tournament.
I hope they wouldn't do that. No, that would be sad.
Really? I would put money on them doing that.
It feels like I'm dying inside.
It really would. Oh my God, Square Enix.
They're player haters.
Give us a call. Limit Break Radio on Skype. 810-515-8715.